Hello, wise women. This is Emily here from Wise Woman Witchery. And today I am here with Julie Sanders, who is a psychic medium, and she is the owner of Heart of the Spirit. And she is here to talk to us today a little bit about her journey and how she got to be doing the work she's doing, and then also share with us what the work is that she is doing. So welcome, Julie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I'm so glad.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of what the work is that you're doing in the world right now?
Well, what I do is primarily I do readings, and they range in, I cover all sorts of turf. I do shamanic work and cards and hypnotherapy, and everything sort of blends in. I usually know when the person comes which modality is going to suit them best. And I just kind of go based on what shows up when the person arrives.
Okay. Do people come to you and specifically say, this is what I want, and then you go that direction?
They can, or sometimes people say, I just want to know what's showing up. And so I'll just check in with their energy and see, you know, because we always are showing in our field what's up and what's consuming our life force. And so I usually start that way anyway, because I find people get really validated when I can tell them what's going on in their life, and they're like, oh my God, that's it. And so I like to start that way, because if people start off with a validation, they feel, first of all, comfortable with me, and they feel seen. And I think that's really important anytime you're working with a client.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell me a little bit about how you came to do this work or to know that you had these gifts?
Yes, absolutely. When I was a little girl, I used to see colored auras. I used to see the color around people's heads, and I'd say, Mommy, why is that lady covered in yellow? And she'd be all excited because she was pretty woo-woo for her time. And she'd say, oh my gosh, you're seeing the colored auras, which I didn't really know what it meant. And but all my life, like most people know, we have sensitivities and strong points and weak points. And I always could feel people's energy, but it wasn't until I was really in my early 30s that I met a woman that sort of took me under her wing and helped me to be able to understand that what I was feeling was real, that I wasn't really crazy. Because I think, like many people who are sensitive, we grow up and we don't recognize that we're feeling or experiencing other people's energy, and that affects how we feel. So I would, go through my day and think I was having a good day, and suddenly feel very sad or feeling impending doom. And I didn't really realize until later that I was interacting with another person's energy. And so I find it's very important to help unravel that for people, so they understand that, no, you're not going crazy. You are interacting with other people's energy, and that's very normal. And it's something that everyone experiences.
Mm-hmm. So when this person took you under their wing, were there certain things that she was kind of helping you to guide your gifts in a certain direction?
Yeah, we did a lot of tarot cards to begin with, and that was really validating for me, in that the cards would mirror back to me the message that I kind of already knew, but I didn't have the languaging for, and I didn't have the experience to put it into a context that made sense for me. Mm-hmm. And when I was first starting out, this is kind of silly, but she used to tell me that you know what you know, and which seemed like, well, that makes it too easy, right? But we don't trust our little voice. And so I practiced trusting my little voice playing Yahtzee, believe it or not. And I would roll the dice, and sometimes some dice would appear brighter to me. So I would keep those dice, and it was kind of silly. But for me, I think because it wasn't really emotion packed, it wasn't like, oh, this is really important. I was able to have this experience of developing or building a muscle to trust my little voice, to the point that I would trust it for bigger things. Mm-hmm. Things that really mattered, things that were emotion packed.
I love that, because I do think we all have that inner voice, that small knowing inside of us, and we don't listen to it often enough. So I don't think Yahtzee is silly. I think it's brilliant, actually.
I've told that to people for the last 25 years, and I don't know if anybody's tried it, but I always hope they will, because I want my what I love is to demystify the whole psychic word, you know, and to really connect people with their knowing so that they can say, oh, I knew that. And it does build their confidence with knowing that they get to know stuff. You get to know your own stuff, and you don't always have to go running seeking external information, because it's available to us all always if we're listening.
Yeah, absolutely. It's helping people. So this is like my whole thing, right? Like helping women step into their power. And part of our power is listening to our intuition and
Absolutely.
trusting it. So yeah, I'm all
Trusting
about that.
is the key.
Yeah. So you also mentioned that you do shamanic work. Was that something that came later as like an additional training?
Yeah, I went through a 3-year shamanic apprenticeship. I've been doing it for about 19 years. And when I was getting ready to sign up for this clairvoyant program, and the day before I went, my mom, who was my spiritual mentor, said, honey, you know, would you just go see this lady before you sign up for this 2-year program and make this commitment? Go see this woman. So I did. And excuse me, when I got there, one of the things she did was to drum for me. And when she was drumming, I kept hearing, this is home, I'm home. And it just felt so, so organic and so real that I thought, this is what I want to study. And so she took me on as a mentee, and I worked with her for 3 years. And what I have come to know about shamanic work is that in shamanism, all illness or dis-ease is based in power loss. And so we experience power loss a variety of ways, you know, through trauma, through accidents, through death, or, you know, just any sort of life experience. And we are basically geared to fraction off bits of our soul. When we experience trauma, say a car accident, we might fraction off a piece of our soul so that we can stay incarnate. The rest of us stays in body. Obviously, the ultimate time would be when we leave our body and go to the other side. And so what I love about the shamanic work is that working with helping spirits and drumming, I find it to be a very gentle way to bring people back into their bodies, to bring them back present with maybe with an experience that they might have forgotten about, but to bring their power back, because I liken it to, you know, saying, you know, the people were like, I'm trying to heal, I'm trying to get better, I'm trying to grow. But it's kind of like, if we are operating out of, say, 75% of our life force, and we're trying to do all this stuff, we may not have enough oomph to get us to the next place. And so I find that the gentle nature of shamanic healing is very, it's so affirming to people that you don't have to re-experience a trauma to heal from it and to recover and to be able to then take that wisdom that your soul has gained and go forward.
Mm-hmm. So you get to kind of guide them without them having to fully go back into and retell the story and all of that. You're just calling them home, basically.
Yes. I now when I encounter the soul part that has fractioned off, I will get the story. I will understand the story of what happened and why that happened. But I think it's very important that we understand that every time we retell a story of trauma, our body experiences it again. You know, we create the adrenaline, our bodies create all the hormones and chemicals that we experienced, and that can be debilitating. And so that is one of the reasons why I do engage with stories with people, because it's helpful to them, but I don't want them to be fully invested in the powerlessness of what happened and what victimized them. Mm-hmm. So it's really kind of to bring it down to a level that this is really about just bringing your energy home so that you have access to it, and there's not this cord going out to this point of your being that is still feeling the trauma. Mm-hmm. So by disconnecting from that, we have use of the wisdom gained from it And then we are like, it's like filling up your gas tank. It's like, okay, I have enough gas now. I can do what I need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. I was going to ask you a question. It just left my brain. Let me try and find it. Well, here, I'll ask you this instead, since I don't know what I was going to say. In what way do you personally experience the information that comes through to you, whether it's psychic wise, medium wise, when you're doing the shamanic work? Does it all come in the same way, or is it different for all the different ways that you work?
You know, it can come in a huge variety of ways. I will see pictures or hear words. I can experience physical pain that often happens if someone who's passed away is coming through, and I'll experience a pain in my chest, or something in my head, or I'll experience the sense of an impact. I will physically feel it. I can taste things. I can usually taste if someone who passed was a smoker, because I can taste it in my mouth or feel it in my throat. So it comes in a huge variety of ways. And so over the years, I've learned to, or practice relaying the information without as much of my personal, my story that might go with it, because it's the essence of the energy that I'm trying to relay. And so, for example, if I'm speaking with someone whose father, died in a car accident, and I may describe, well, I feel an impact in my chest, and is this familiar to you? I feel a male energy, and so this way, when I describe the way a person passed, it's validating for the client, because they understand, well, how in the world would I know that? Right. But it's a language, it's specific kind of to the person who's coming through and the information that's coming through. And usually it matches their personality. What will come through will match their personality. And so that's another validation, which is really important, because I want people to know that their connection and that their personality and the way they knew that person is still true. They still get to have it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you find that one sense for you is stronger than the other senses?
That's a really good question. Well, it would be just the intuition of just knowing something. Like, it's like, I call it instant knowing. You just know.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the first thing that I learned, and it was the first thing that I learned to trust. And so there are times still where I will encounter an unhealthy type energy and think, oh, I'm getting sick or something, and it's not. I've encountered something, but for me, it's kind of like I will know something will be very clear.
Mm-hmm. And can you turn it on and off?
I am able to filter it. So being empathic, as many of us are, I didn't really learn about that till maybe the last 15 years. So for a long time, it really ran me. But I am not the person that's going to go to the grocery store and walk up to someone and say, hey, your dead father is here. One of my teachers taught me that is psychic invasion. And I'm very, very careful not to, I don't offer unless I'm asked. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I might get information, and it'll happen a lot at parties. I'll get a lot of information, but I try to just say, I put it out there to God in the universe. If this person wants to come see me, then it will happen, and I need to let it go, because I can't let it be about me and about me needing to tell them something. I don't believe that's appropriate. I believe that when people are seeking, that they will come to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you were saying it kind of ran you, were you finding that you were just tapped out a lot of the time because you were running so much energy through your body?
Definitely at various times and under certain circumstances, I can be, for example, we went to the fair yesterday. I almost never go to the fair, but I said, I want to go to the fair. And anyway, I went to the fair, and about 2 hours in, I was like, I got to go. I got to go. And I got to go right now. Because it's just too much. It's too frenetic. Mm-hmm. And I really think I think that people don't have enough awareness about that, and we're overexposed to such a heightened, everything is so loud and is so in your face and so fast. You know, energy is shared so quickly, and information is shared so quickly. I think that so many people are overwhelmed by it, and there's just this chronic fatigue that people experience without really having the awareness that, oh, maybe if I just like didn't go there, or if I limited my time there, or to have the awareness that some people will leave you very drained.
Mm-hmm.
And they will leave you very drained every time you see them, but you might not put it together. But I think I love to help people be able to discern what that is for them, and what works for them and what doesn't work for them, because ultimately we have to take care of ourselves, and we have to guard our space. Mm-hmm. Not from a really protective, like fearful standpoint, but just to be aware that we are sensitive and we will experience energy in a way that is unique to us.
So do you help people learn how to kind of put up their filters or their boundaries to help protect their own energetic field?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is, you know, I've come to understand that during a reading, whatever we talk about becomes diffused. So if it had a charge, if it held a charge for the person, by us talking about it and by the person, I think a lot of it has to do with being witnessed, for people to be witnessed in their story. I think that's very important. So I find that it is diffused, and I always have a conversation about your field, your energy field. I like to tell people that, you know, you read just like I do. You can walk into a room and be drawn to a person or repulsed from a person, and that's information. And it doesn't have to be like you're bad and evil. That's information. Our energies aren't going to match well. Mm. And so I love to help people start to identify that, and to understand that you don't have to walk away with their energy. You don't have to carry it around with you. You don't have to take it in your heart and try to transmute it, because you can't. And then it becomes a burden on you, and it holds them there. And, you know, so I definitely have that conversation frequently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's such an important skill that we all learn as humans, because I do believe that we're all taking all this information in all the time. Some of us are more tuned into it than other people, but it does affect all of us.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why it's so important for each of us to be really aware and conscientious about awareness of what we're taking in and what we're exposing ourselves to. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't watch the news.
Yeah,
it's disruptive to me, and it takes me out of holding the higher place or a higher vision for humanity or for our world, and it disrupts that. And so I know that about myself. I don't watch scary movies because they freak me out and I have nightmares, you know. So they're like little things that seem really small, but it's just part of my little toolkit that I know there are certain things I can do to minimize the effects of the onslaught of energy and information that comes to us.
Yes. And we are such a rapid fire culture that, I mean, we are just exposed. I read something at some point that was talking about how, like, in the 1850s or something, the amount of information people were exposed to was like 1/100th of what we get in like an hour these days, you know, in their day compared to like, I mean, it was some crazy numbers. And I just thought that's so true because of technology and media, and it's just in our face so fast.
Yes, it is. And it moves so fast and everything. So I think I was born like in the analog time, you know, and so my phone had a cord. It was attached to the wall.
I had that.
So we were born at a time of a different frequency. Mm-hmm. And now obviously with the digital age and everything moving so fast, we have adapted, and we will continue to adapt. And our children are like super fast. They're like quantum digital or something. I don't know what it is, but they get stuff, and they are more attuned to that frequency, where for us it's like, too much.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Um, what is your favorite kind of work to do? Do you have a favorite? Like,
Oh,
when you're
I
doing
love
it,
the
you're like,
shamanic work.
"This is it, a
I
shamanic."
love I love beating my drum. I love I think Emily, what I love the most about it is the almost it's so comforting and it's so gentle, and it's so opposite of medicine or healing, or like allopathic medicine. Take this pill and do this. It's so gentle, it's so life affirming. When we realize that we're missing some energy, why wouldn't we want it back? And then when it comes back and you feel, my experience personally and with clients is that when we've done shamanic healing, it's something that sort of will work its way in and through your days and the days and weeks that follow your session. And at some point you look back and go, oh my gosh, before I would have totally responded in this particular way, and this time it didn't even affect me. It's really gentle and it's really nurturing. And
Mhm.
that's what I really love that.
Well, it's the heartbeat, right? I mean, I know in shamanic work I've done, you start hitting that drum, and it is like you just found the mother rhythm
Yes.
in your body and the earth. It's like, oh, it all just came together in this heartbeat.
It's fascinating too, because there are people who will be, you know, who will let me do it, and they'll be like, well, not really get it. And then afterwards they'll tell me of a vision they had or a feeling they had. And because it's our first language, right, is that heartbeat,
Mhm.
we can all it's an access point. And so I've definitely had like people who were skeptical start off skeptical and go, oh, well, I totally had this feeling, whatever. And I love that they are validated by what I report back to them with, because it will usually match up to something that they experienced.
Yeah, I love the word that you used, access point, because it does. I can resonate with that for sure.
Yeah. Yes, and we all know it.
Yeah.
And we all know it. So yeah, it's that to me is fulfilling, because it fulfills my desire to have people connect with their ability to have their own information.
Hmm.
I never want to foster a dependency. That's not my gig. I want people to become stronger and feel empowered, and that they have the answers and they can access them.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like you're just offering them the tools.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I
Yeah.
love that. I'm curious, has there been like one particular reading that has really stood out to you that you could share about? I mean, obviously confidentially, but just.
Yeah. Boy, let's see. Well, I can kind of say that when I'm doing the mediumship work, and when ancestors will come through, I love that the healing that it provides for the surviving family members. That type of reading is really validating, because we're so lost and we're so sad, and it can be decades. It can
Mhm.
be, decades since a parent or loved one died. Um, and to be able to connect and to know that you've been connected to them, and to hear from them, it really helps people sort of be able to move along in their grief. Um, and so, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, so I can't say exactly if there's been one. There have been many. I feel very honored that people allow me into these very intimate parts of their lives, because a reading is intimate. It's very personal. And when I was a little kid, I thought I was just super nosy and I wanted to know about everything, but I didn't really know it was going to play into what I do for a living. But I love sharing people's stories with them and getting to know them through their stories, and then seeing their ahas, and seeing almost like the weights lifted off their shoulders when they hear, it could be a 2-word sentence that they go, oh, that's it, and that's all I needed, and thank you for your time.
Right.
I just adore being a part of that process.
Yeah, it's really an honor, isn't it, to be let in that way?
It
Yeah.
really is. And to be trusted.
Yes.
That is really important to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I can resonate with that as a psychotherapist, you know, like people come in and I have that experience and
Right.
it's such an honor that people trust you and that you get to witness their experience and their growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very cool. Um, let's see here. Can you talk, you said mentioned hypnosis. Can you talk about how that comes into play for you?
So many years ago, I was working at a hypnosis center,
Oh,
and it was really interesting because I never thought about doing it, and I went in to help because their front desk person had walked out, and they said, "Oh my gosh, do you have time? Can you come help us for a couple of days?" Anyway, ended up I went through their training program and I became a hypnotherapist. And what I really learned about that was that we walk around a lot of, most of our lives in a state of self-hypnosis. We do all our daily stuff. We drive to our places and we're like, I don't even remember driving here. I don't remember going, and but I think it gave me a lot of information to be able to help people as far as recognizing when you're on autopilot and when you're not. And so because well, you probably know this, we repeat the same thoughts over and over and over again. And I will very oftentimes recommend that someone listen to some sort of stress reduction program or something to break the state. So when you're in a hypnotic state, whether self-hypnosis or otherwise, we are in a state where we're not acting with intention. We're acting on autopilot by default. We're living our lives by default. And when we live our lives by default and we don't like what's happening, we're like, why is this happening? Well, because I'm living my life in default. So I like to talk about what happens when you break the state. So when you bring yourself out of the state of self-hypnosis and you start to act with intention and out of your desires, not out of habit.
mm-hmm.
So, and I do use hypnosis for past life regression. And I think a lot of times when I'm speaking, I think it's somewhat hypnotic because it's always with the positive swing on things.
Mm-hmm.
I like to say I'm specialized in reframing things.
Nice.
Because why not, right?
Totally. Do you utilize guides at all in your work?
Oh, yeah.
Are they your guides? Or are they your clients' guides? Or is it both? How does that work for you?
I feel that it's both. And I also feel that guides are, I always ask for whoever is there for the greatest and highest good of the client to show up. And I believe that whenever someone shows up with me, that it's already been decided on another realm, on another level, that it's already been decided for us to work together. And frequently when someone makes an appointment, I'll start getting information on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that we're co-creating. I think their guides are talking to my guides because we're working with our high self and what is for the greatest and highest good of our client. That's what I want. That's my intention. And so I believe that it is a collaboration. I think it's a collaborative work.
And when you work with your personal guides, do you find that you have like one or two that are pretty steadfast and that others vary? Or do you find that you have a variety at all times coming in and out as needed?
My sense is that whoever needs to show up shows up. I try not to be the boss, and say, because they know better than I do. And so I try to just ask again for whoever is going to provide the cleanest and best help to a client or a situation to be present.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's up to me. I'm not the boss of it. They're like the boss of me.
Right. Well, the reason I ask is like I can identify clearly for at least 4 guides that I have, and I can see them. I can, I'm aware of them, But I also know that there's been times where other energies are coming through to help, other helping spirits that aren't energies that I'm super familiar with, but it's really clear they're there to help. So I
Right.
just wondered if you had like kind of your like core group.
Well, in my shamanic work, I definitely have a core group.
Okay.
I have a core group more specified because they came to me when I was learning the various things that we do. I would go on a journey, and I would ask who is going to help me with, this. And so they came to me specifically and they named themselves. So yeah. And so otherwise, I feel that I'm working with on the angelic realm and any sort of ascended master. I don't specify, and I don't name my team that works with me with clients. I don't have a name for them, but I do for the shamanic side.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. You got a lot of helpers.
I got a lot of helpers. I need a lot of helpers.
So you mentioned the angelic realm. When you think about angels, how do they play a role in your life and other people's lives? What's your belief around that?
Well, my understanding around angels is that that angels are not energies that have ever been incarnate, and so although we say people are angels, and I think people definitely have angelic qualities, but given that I feel that's true, I understand that we have to ask our angels for help, and because they cannot interfere with our free will, they have not experienced mortal life, so they may not understand what that means. That I need you to, I would like for you to place a new job in my lap. I would like for you to, I think that we have to ask for what we want. And so something I do every single day is two things. One is the first thing in the morning, I ask for my children's angels and guides to be present with them, to guide and protect them throughout the day, and to show them the next best possible thing for them to do in their life. And that I do because they're grown up and I don't have the voice I used to have with them. And then the other thing I pray is I ask for angels and guides to connect me with anyone that I can help. That is my marketing plan. That's how I put myself out there. Because I want people who want to be here. I want divine connection, and I want it to be aligned not by ego, but by divinity. By this is who can use you. This is who I learn from clients all the time. I really feel so blessed to be able to see people, and I do, and that's like my two for sure everyday angel things I do. I also surrender to them to protect me when I'm feeling threatened, and I say, angels, please protect me, please guide and protect me. I recently went through someone that I love very much was going through chemo. And so I went to her treatments with her after the first time, and I came home and I was leveled on the couch, and I thought, oh, what the heck was I thinking? I went in unprotected and I didn't ask for help. And that's, I think, an example of how it is we have to say, angels, please protect me. And it's not a protection of I don't want to connect with your energy. It's a protection of I need to be here for my girl, and I can pray for others while I'm there, which I do. I ask for them to be open to receive the frequency of love, and I do that. But I got leveled that first day when I went, and I just have such a strong belief that if you ask for what you need, that it is provided. And so whether it's a placebo effect or not, I believe my angels are very happy to be helping me. And I ask them for guidance. I ask them, like, if I need to know something, please make it really obvious, because I might miss it otherwise. It's like that. And it's sort of my little conversation that I have going on in my head, but it truly is based in faith, and faith that we are never alone, and there always is support, significant support, surrounding us, on, you know, whether it's angels or animal spirits or ancestors or whatever you feel speaks to you. You know, we all have them. And so even when we're feeling alone, we're not alone, because you got all this love around you. And I really like people to know that.
Yeah, I love that. And I think as you were talking, one of the things that came to me was this idea of intention. And it's like everything that we do, whenever we set an intention around, like, just, okay, I'm open to be guided and helped and held in, you know, in whatever way is in the highest good for me or for those that I'm trying to help. That really does open this door where we allow it to come in instead of being closed off.
Exactly. And, you know, we're such a brain driven culture.
Yes.
I'm not brain driven. Not that I'm not smart, but it's not my strongest power. It's not it's not the highest and best use of Julie in a body. I'm much better when I'm in my faith, when I'm open to see what I need to see, and allowing myself to see and hear what I need to see and hear. And it's really true for all of us. And that ties back into helping people to know that you have knowing, you get to have this information. And when we do surrender the ego to the angels, say, angels, please send me, you know, whoever I can help. That is an act of faith. You know what? I just thought of a reading that I think was really pivotal. If you want me to go back to that.
Yes, please, please.
So probably about 10 years ago, a young lady, and I was still saying this prayer to send me anyone I can help, by the way. This young lady showed up on the couch, and she was with her mother, and I think she was 19 at the time. Well, she showed up because she was having homicidal and suicidal ideations. I was like, God, are you kidding? You think I got this? And I was flabbergasted, and so I had to really gather myself, because as I checked in with her, I was like, there's no way. There's just no way. This is not a person who's got this, you know, it's not real. And so I said, you know, in the session, I said, there's no way. You're never going to act on this. It is not who you are. It is not the soul that you are in a body. There is no way that you will ever act out on this. And I am clear. And, you know, when you're like 26, all of these things that you're going through, they're going to really subside. Anyway, it was really a big deal. And I was scared, actually. I was afraid that it was so clear to me. And I told her, and she was so fragile, bless her heart, but she is 27 now. I saw her regularly for a handful of years while she went through tons and tons of medical experimentations, and just poor baby. It was grueling to watch, and I understood that the medical community was doing what they knew to try to help her. But she's just an incredible woman, and she's come through so much. And while she still may dip in occasionally to feeling the fear that those things might come back, she's going to change our world. She's overcome, and she's come through. And to work with her for as many years as I did, and for her to trust me in a really, really scary, like, she was super fragile and very afraid. And her mom trusted me, and her dad, and everybody trusted me. And to be able to be a part of her process and walk that path with her was truly a gift. And that was one session that I will never forget.
Yeah, no kidding. I can see why you would be scared. That's a lot to have somebody come and lay in your lap and ask for help.
Yes.
But I can also see how that whole experience and how it all kind of transpired also just solidified your faith, right? Because you were saying, I knew this was not going to come to pass, and it didn't.
Yeah. No. Thank God.
Yeah. Yes.
But she's just like a shining star to me. I just have nothing but huge respect and love for her.
Oh, awesome. That's so cool. Isn't it amazing the people that come into our lives? It's
it's a blessing. That's what I'm saying when I say I feel really lucky, because I have never met one person in 25 years that I thought, ugh. Please don't come. Okay, no, I'm wrong. There was one person, and she never came back, and she didn't want to hear what I had to say. But it was shortly after that I came up with the prayer: "Send me anyone that I can help." Because sometimes their energy mismatch, and I just don't want to waste people's time with having them show up and like, yeah, we're not going to vibe together. So, that's why I asked my angels to set it all up for me, and they do a really good job.
Yeah. Nice. Well, Julie, I'm wondering if there's anything that you wish I had asked you that I didn't.
Seems like we covered it all. Yeah. I don't know. I would just say that, thank you for thinking of me to talk about this. It's something I feel really passionate about, that if we can share more information with people to help them connect to their knowing and to help them on their own spiritual path, I'm all in.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
So you said the things that you offer readings and that you use different modalities. Is that all in-person work, or do you do distance work as well?
I do distance work as well.
And is that something you do on the phone or via Zoom like this, or?
Phone, Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Smoke signals. No, I'm just kidding.
Anyway, I can do it anyway.
However you want. What, you're not thinking that? Okay.
How can people find you? What's the best way for them to reach you?
Okay, well, I have a website, heartofthespirit.com. I also have a Facebook page that I post on often. And from either place, you can access my online calendar by clicking on Facebook. It's a Book Now button. And if you're just curious and you don't want to schedule, and I totally get that, if you click on the Book Now button on my Facebook page, it will take you to my testimonials. And I think I have like 150 testimonials, where you can read and see what other people have felt and what they have experienced as a result of having a session. And to me, their words speak more than whatever I could say.
Sure. Yeah. So, it's always nice to hear what other people's experiences are too.
I think so, because it's a scary thing, and there are people who do this work that are predatory. And I think to see that these are verified clients of mine that wanted to say nice things, I think that is, helpful.
Awesome.
Yes.
Cool. Well, what I'm going to do when we end is I'm going to load this onto YouTube. So people who are watching it now are probably watching it on YouTube. And I will put your contact information in the description part so that people will be able to reach you. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you check the description so you know how to reach Julie.
Okay, thank you so much, Emily. What a pleasure to see you again.
Yeah, it was wonderful to talk to you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. You take good care.
You too.
All right. Bye.